Hare Krishna World Racer, Sabina and Roger here. Let's watch part number 2 of Bhagavad Gita Made Easy by Dharma Speaks. And before we get into it, I just want to shout out Martian and Anjali for their ongoing support as our subscribers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yes, I am holding up another Bhagavad Gita by this gentleman. I won't try to pronounce his name because if I get it wrong, I'm going to hear about it. But anyways, I have not yet read this version, so I'm looking forward to reading it someday.
So far, Arjuna has been struggling to digest what Krishna has been saying. The task of restraining the senses, detaching from the world and stilling the mind seems like a mountain too tall to climb. Now, Krishna turns Arjuna's attention away from the Atman to himself as the supreme lord of all creation. This creation is part of Krishna's lower nature and is made up of the 5 elements: earth, fire, water, air and space. Not only that, our minds, intellects and even our egos are part of this creation. But the jivas or souls are different. They are not material but spiritual. They are part of Krishna's higher nature. But as Krishna points out, while these two groups are part of him, they do not bind him. There is nothing superior to me, Dhananjaya. As jewels are strung on their thread, so this whole world is strung upon me. The world and souls depend on Krishna like the pearls on a thread, but he is utterly transcendent. Just like the thread is unseen and provides an order to the universe, Krishna too cannot be perceived directly, but he still provides the natural order of life. Planets orbit stars, seasons change, our body functions. There is an unseen force that makes things happen. He is the heat in fire, the intelligence of the intelligent. But this material world, or Maya, binds our souls and keeps us in ignorance. This divine Maya of mind, consisting of the 3 gunas, is difficult to go beyond. But those who surrender to me alone cross beyond this Maya. There are 3 qualities which dictate this material reality. Sattva, that of goodness; Rajas, the mode of passion; and Tamas, the mode of ignorance. Everything in creation is influenced by the varying combination of these qualities. Like a man drowning in the ocean, we too are victim of this Maya made up of the gunas. But what is the way out? Krishna states that it is by surrender to him that we can be rescued and brought to freedom. But people turn to Krishna for different reasons. Some because they are in distress, others for material benefits, some to seek spiritual knowledge, and those because they know the truth of Krishna. It is this last kind of devotee that is the dearest of all. He sees beyond this Maya and realizes Vasudevaha Sarvam, that there is nothing but Krishna.
Nice.
But those who do not have the real intelligence or sincerity instead focus their attention on lesser deities who grant limited worldly benefits. Ignorant of the truth, they forget that even these deities gain their power and authority from Krishna. But why do people fail to see Krishna as the supreme? I am not manifest to all because I am concealed by my Yoga Maya. This deluded world does not comprehend me, the one who is unborn and unfading. The point is that Krishna's true nature lies hidden beyond his Yoga Maya or power of illusion. To those who have not turned to him, the true glory of his divinity remains a mystery. In the next chapter, Krishna explains to Arjuna that the destination one attains after death is dependent on one's final thoughts. But the last thought at death is not in our hands, but is dictated by our state of consciousness. In other words, our final thought is a reflection of whatever we have been absorbed in. If God has been the goal of our life, then our last thought will inevitably be upon him, and we will reach his abode. This abode is akshara, or imperishable, and is sought after by all the yogis. This material world, on the other hand, is temporary and one of suffering. Krishna points out that a true spiritual aspirant sees that nothing in the world lasts. However much we have, death is certain. And even after death, there is no freedom. Instead, we are forced to go to the other planes of existence in the cosmos. Lord Brahma, the god of creation, resides in the highest abode in this universe. But even if we reach here, one is still compelled by karma to return birth after birth. Every time Lord Brahma awakes and sleeps, endless creative cycles occur where souls are brought out into the world and then withdrawn. Every day and night of Brahma lasts millions of years. In the process, we go through endless births and deaths. We are hopelessly caught in this cosmic drama. But how do we break free and attain the permanent abode of God? Yogis, following certain timings in the Vedic scriptures, attempt to do this by leaving their body in the right way and at the right time. They perform intense, vigorous practice. But the devotee who longs incessantly for Krishna doesn't bother with such practices and finds it easy to be liberated because he relies on Krishna. Chapter 9 expands further on the power of devotion. Those who are wise see the truth of Krishna and fix their minds on him with love. Some take vows, singing his praises and performing acts of worship. Others contemplate upon him with wisdom. Krishna makes clear his inconceivable nature is alive and available in the subtlest and most profound way. But because we are governed by our mind and senses, his glory is hidden. Only those who have surrendered to him can reach him. Krishna states, devotees of the gods go to the gods. Devotees of the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship spirits go to the spirits. But those who worship me go to me. Like in the previous chapter, Krishna makes clear that what we focus on and absorb ourselves in will decide where we reach after death. Those who are materialistic will go to the devas. Those who are attached to family will go to them. Those who indulge in occult practices will reach the spirits, but devotees who worship Krishna will go to him.
I'm gonna start worshiping.
When offered with a mood of devotion, I will accept a leaf, a flower, a fruit or water from one who is pure at heart. To attain Krishna, one doesn't require ostentatious offerings, extensive knowledge, or harsh austerity. All one needs is simplicity, purity, and sincerity of heart. It is love that moves Krishna to respond. Krishna calls for his devotees to make every act they perform an offering of this love. Previously, Arjuna had heard of how to perform Karma Yoga by trying to detach and restrain the senses. Now he hears of a Karma Yoga which is suffused with devotion. It is a practice filled with deep longing for God, a practice that destroys all karmic consequences. This way of devotion is so strong that it captures and transforms the heart, so much so that the worst of sinners can be transformed. As a result, Krishna urges Arjuna in his distressed condition to dedicate himself completely. Fix your mind on me, become my devotee, worship me and bow down to me. By engaging yourself in such acts and dedicating yourself to me, you will surely come to me. In whatever situation we are in, however we are, if we absorb our being in Krishna, we will reach him. To those who engage constantly in such practices, worshipping in a mood of love, I give that yoga of understanding by means of which they can come to me. In chapter 10, Krishna explains that on the bhakti path, wisdom is not gained through self-effort, it is given by Krishna as an act of grace. Those who are forever contemplating upon him are gifted with the inner spiritual knowledge of how to attain him.
Amazing.
But even more than this, Krishna states that from within the very heart of his devotee where he resides, he will lift the lamp of blazing knowledge and destroy the darkness of ignorance. Krishna is not only the supreme person on whom the whole cosmos rests, he is the indweller within each and every living being. Having heard the truth of Krishna as the Supreme Lord, Arjuna is overcome with joy and awe, but at the same time, Arjuna is not satisfied. A taste of truth is not enough. He wishes to know more and absorb himself in hearing about the reality of who Krishna is. He wants to know how he can recognize him in this world. Krishna has already stated different ways in which he is immanent in creation, and in the next few verses he enters further into a poetic discourse describing the different ways he can be perceived. O Arjuna, of all forms of knowledge I am knowledge of the Atman, and in debaters I am the ultimate conclusion. I am death who devours everyone. I am the origin of all things yet to be. Amongst feminine virtues, I am fame, good fortune, speech, memory, intelligence, endurance, and forgiveness. The overriding point is that any amazing, wondrous thing that exists in this world is just an infinitesimal fraction of who Krishna is. By describing his own glories, Krishna is expanding Arjuna's mind. The mind, as stated in chapter 7, is part of the material world. It is stuck in duality where everything is in accordance with natural laws. But God doesn't conform to these laws. His presence breaks all ideas of logic and philosophical understanding. Little by little, Krishna is preparing Arjuna to behold the true reality that underpins his entire physical universe. After hearing these statements, Arjuna's longing increases. There comes a point when words are not enough. As a result, Arjuna asks if he can actually see this cosmic form which has been described. Krishna replies, "But you cannot see me in this way with your own eyes, and so I give you my divine vision. Now behold my glorious yoga." Our eyes are bound by this physical world, so Krishna, as an act of grace, gives spiritual eyes which can pierce the veil of material existence. Suddenly, Arjuna beholds the truly shocking cosmic form of the Lord. Blazing like 1,000 suns, he sees within it endless heads and arms, the entire universe, heavens and other abodes. He sees all the demigods and rishis of the yajna. There is no beginning, middle or end. It is infinite in nature. Arjuna sees whole worlds being destroyed by gnashing teeth. All creation and souls are present within this one form of Krishna. But instead of enjoying the sight, Arjuna is trembling with fear at this awesome scene. Within this form, Arjuna also sees his enemies who are ready for battle being swallowed up and destroyed by Krishna. Confused and overcome with emotion, Arjuna asks Krishna who he really is. Krishna replies, "I am all-powerful time that brings destruction to the world. I am here to put an end to these worlds. Even without you, none of these warriors assembled in battle will survive." Essentially, Krishna is saying, I am life itself. Existence and the very movement of existence is all Krishna. Arjuna has been worried about engaging in battle because of the consequences, but Krishna has shown that the battle is already over. His enemies have already been slain. Whether Arjuna fights or not is irrelevant. Krishna has already accomplished everything.
Wow.
In response, Arjuna praises him and further apologizes. Deluded by Krishna's human appearance, Arjuna failed to understand the precious nature of what was in front of him. He asked for forgiveness for any lack of respect. He pleads with Krishna to take this form away which is so overwhelming and return back to his normal person. Now that the dust has settled, Arjuna wishes to know which is superior, the worship of Krishna with devotion as described, or the path of inquiry and introspection on the formless divinity. These two paths are referred to as the Bhakti Marga and the Jnana Marga. Krishna makes clear that both paths can reach him, but the path of devotion is easy and enjoyable. The path of knowledge, on the other hand, is fraught with difficulty and troubles. Bhakti is easy because it relies on divine grace. To those who are incessantly engaged with Krishna, he is the one who saves them from the ocean of birth and death. The way of knowledge relies on self-effort and is full of obstacles and challenges. A devotee, however, progresses with ease and rises above this maya. Krishna then describes in the following verse the qualities of such a devotee. He is equally disposed toward an enemy and a friend. He regards honour and contempt as the same. He has equal regard for heat and cold, and for joy and misery, and he has given up all attachment to the world. Fundamentally, a devotee is one who is beyond the sways of the world and equal in all situations. Such a person is dear to Krishna. Here we find, yet again, that God is not some faraway deity to be feared. He is intimate, close and loving.
Yes.
With the revelation of the cosmic form and the teachings on devotion complete, the Gita enters a new phase in which Krishna begins to give a close, detailed understanding of how our true nature, the physical world, and God all fit together. He brings home to Arjuna the grounding wisdom which will allow us to live a fruitful and spiritual life. Many thanks for listening.
Wow.
Sounds like a masterpiece.
It's probably the greatest book available for human beings.
If you can grasp it.
Yes.
If you can get a taste for what the words point to.
If you have the good fortune to be receptive, yes, then now is the time. In other words, the time is now.
Like now.
Like now.
Now.
For the Gita. Yes.
You.
So if you have some friends,
You.
if you have
us,
some family,
Now.
anybody who has not yet dived into the Gita, we are inviting you to join us because these Dharma Speaks videos, as engaging and profound as they are, Sabina's getting a little taste of what the Gita is going to be about. It's still just little snippets, right? So we need to read this book, The Divine Conversation Between Arjuna and Krishna.
Together.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
any points on this video that you want to touch on?
Boy, so hard to gather my thoughts here.
There's summaries right here on the screen.
Yeah, I said, I'm going to start worshipping Krishna. But in the end, I already am. Because Krishna is everything. And Krishna has many names. Like, it's not just Krishna. It's the ultimate. It's the absolute. It's...
Yeah,
right?
I think
I've
said this so many times to Sabina that I think it's kind of sunk in because it's in the Gita where Krishna says that anybody with a sincere heart, through whatever path and whatever form, like if it is some form of the absolute, like, one of the higher names for God, that is Krishna, right? So you can still advance spiritually. But that being said, he also says that if you're worshiping the spirits of the ancestors or family or the demigods, then you'll go to those realms because he's the source of all realms. So he actually is the source of those demigods and the ancestors, all beings. Everything is within Krishna.
That alone already is so mind-blowing because I never thought about this. I heard a lot of spiritual teachings, but this is it's just new to me. It is because now I know why you always go to the highest of the highest.
The highest.
It's like the highest. It makes so much sense. Of course.
Yeah, once you're aware of the highest. And I think it's tragic and sad in a way that we're hearing that the youth in India have kind of, lost a little bit of faith, just like in the Western world, like religion has kind of degenerated where the youth is no longer really interested, it seems. So we need to revitalize that because there's nothing else to do. Because even if you don't get on the path and you don't worship Krishna or you don't worship anything or any God, and you don't seek to know the answers to life, and then you just live your life and you die, and then you're still part of Krishna, right? You're still part of the whole, and you're still going to reincarnate in another form, but you're not going to really have much, say in the matter or control. It's just going to be karma, right? But once you're a seeker and then a devotee, then you start having, control over, your destiny in a way. And to be honest, there's nothing else to do.
Yeah. I have a question. Something arose. So in Buddhist terms, what would Krishna be? Do you have a word for that? Word for that?
Well, for me, it's always been like, Rigpa, right? So the source of non-duality. So then there's the debate of, is Krishna, transcendent or immanent, which means, transcendent, beyond creation, or is he immanent within creation? And then people think that those are, exclusive. You can't, it's one or the other. But no, it's both, right? We got to think of, Krishna, the absolute is beyond our comprehension to even grasp. So,
and that's the Godhead too?
Yeah, so omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, transcendent, and immanent. Everything is God. Everything is Krishna. So then in Buddhist terms, I see Krishna more as, Brahman, right? So which means or Shiva as that which is not. So just the ocean of consciousness, the Godhead out of which all things arise. So the Godhead being formless, timeless, eternal, just a pure consciousness, an energy and a power there, right? Yeah. So that's kind of how I see, Krishna in the Buddhist world. Just the absolute, beyond name and form or comprehension, kind of like Rigpa, right? An enlightened being who just transcends the ego, not necessarily is going to go to, Krishna's pure realms, beyond this universe. But so that's the difference. It might be a Buddha or a Bodhisattva who reincarnates to help others become liberated. But a true devotee of Krishna, can go to Krishna's realm, right? So that's not to say, so this kind of definition of, Krishna being timeless and formless and not of form still doesn't mean that he can't have form, right? So it's beyond our comprehension to grasp, but Krishna can also be separate. So transcendent in the state that's not affected. And I talked about in this video where he's not, caught up in the world, even though everything emanates from him. He's very much, transcendent, separated from it as well, but the source of absolutely everything. So immanent as everything at the same time.
The primordial Lord himself. Oh my God. Longcheningting. Look, not constructed by excellent Buddhas, nor changed by lowly sentient beings, this unfabricated gnosis of the present moment is the reflexive luminosity, naked and stainless, the primordial Lord himself.
Yeah. So that's talking about Rigpa?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by Rigpa, is that you're thinking it as pristine awareness.
Okay, so
but
there's something beyond.
But the pristine awareness, there's going to be something that pristine awareness is aware of, and that's the manifestation of everything within pristine awareness. So that's why, in Dzogchen Buddhism, when you're becoming aware, it's not becoming aware of a nothingness, it's becoming aware of the everythingness, right? Because in non-duality, the knower and the knowing and the known is non-dual in nature. Everything that arises is part of consciousness. It's part of the pristine awareness, right? So pristine awareness isn't like it's separated from creation. It's the very source of it. Just like Krishna is the source of everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
So deep.
Wow.
But yeah,
Wow.
so when we dive into the Bhagavad Gita, of course, our knowledge and a big chunk of our teachings has come from Buddhism, especially for Sabina. So we're going to be trying to understand it and grasp it, in terms that we're already familiar with, right? But in no way, debating or denying and talking about, who's better or which teachings is better. Because as seekers, we just want to know the truth, attain the highest.
We're not going to get into a debate here.
Yeah, so, because many paths, many teachers, and everything is coming from one source. So we got to be, kind to those on other paths, those who worship other deities, because that's fine and that's good. And it's better to be on the path in some manner than to try to force people to be on the same path we are. No, that's not true. And Krishna talks about that also in the Gita, So anyways.
We have to watch number 3 now. So we'll see you there. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Hit the like button.
Oh, yeah.
So more people can find this video. It triggers the algorithm. And of course, subscribe so you don't miss our Bhagavad Gita videos. And thank you so much for being here. Let us know what you think down in the comments. And remember, raise yourself.
And raise the world. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you in part number 3.
Peace.